Hello, this is Joakim from Astralors, and you are watching CMS TV.
Well, what do you have for us? Anything in particular?
I got all kinds of stuff. Let's start with an announcement, shall we?
All right.
The big announcement, and I know this is a big one for you, the 2026 Monsters of Rock cruise has been announced.
Oh boy. Already. I know when I was getting off that 80s cruise, they were already booking people for
next year
2026 cruise, you know.
Yeah, they book a full year ahead now so that people can spend the ridiculous amounts of money for this. So here is the Monsters of Rock lineup for 2026, April 12th through the 17th.
All right.
The bands are Black Label Society, Night Ranger, The Darkness, Queensryche, Striper, Symphony X, Y&T, Slaughter, DAD, Great White, Lita Ford, Quiet Riot, The Almighty, British Lion, Nelson, Vixen, Loudness, Crazy Licks, The Choir Boys, Dangerous Toys, Killer Dwarfs, every version of Jeff Scott Soto you could possibly want. Soto Ellefson, Soto Solo, Soto Beeler, Steelheart, Nestor, Heaven's Edge, Crash Diet, Black and Blue, Vein Tough, Cassidy, Paris, Spread Eagle, Paradise Kitty, Enough's Enough, and Stone Whiskey.
Holy shit. That's a lot of bands.
It's a lot of bands.
Yeah. Just look at that. Just look at that list.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about all those bands that were around when we were teenagers. Obviously, Black Label Society is not in there. Night Ranger, yes. The Darkness, no. Queensryche, yes. Striper, yes. Symphony X, no. Y&T, yes. Slaughter, yes. DAD, yes. Great White, yes. Lita Ford, Quiet Riot, The Almighty. I'm not real familiar with them or their history.
They were around in that era. In the
obviously,
80s,
British Lion, no. Nelson.
But Steve Harris is in British Lion.
Yeah, I understand, but the entity known as British Lion. We know who's in the band. Nelson, yes. Vixen, yes. Loudness, yes. Crazy Licks, no. The Choir Boys, yes. Dangerous Toys, yes. Killer Dwarfs, yes. And then very iterations of Soto. You know, he's been a player for a long time with Bay.
Right.
Steelheart, yes. I don't know who Nestor is. Heaven's Edge, yes. Crash Diet, no. Black and Blue, yes. Vein, yes. Tough, right on the cusp.
Right.
Spread Eagle, no. I think they came out in the 90s, didn't they?
I think so, yeah.
Don't know Paradise Kitty, obviously Enough's Enough, yes. And Stone Whiskey, not familiar with them. So
they're new.
All of them have been around for
35, 40 years.
40 years.
Average age of the cruise talent, 70.
Yes.
It's a lot of old folks on one cruise.
I know. It's the Kane, Walker, and rocking chair cruise.
It really is.
Wow, that's a lot of bands.
Yeah, I don't know. Would you go to this?
No, you know what? I got to be honest with you, and I've said this before. Only because of the circumstances that I went on the cruise, I would never just go on a cruise just for shits and giggles.
No,
I would never just do it on my own and decide, you know what, I'm going to go on that cruise. I don't think that I'm not that sold on cruises.
Yeah. I just look at this and I'm not sold. I've seen all these bands in their heyday, the ones that I would want to see. And then the ones that I haven't seen, there's literally 2, maybe 3 bands on this whole list that I have not seen that I might want to see.
Like who?
Crash Diet, I'd like to see.
Okay.
Cassidy Paris, she's kind of sexy, so I'd like to see her. And Stone Whiskey is a really good record if people are looking for something out of that kind of Badlandsy sort of thing. They're in that realm. They're really good, actually. They're I think they're a John Kivel project.
Really? Stone Whiskey. I didn't even know
Yep.
John was still doing stuff.
Yeah, well, he's back with them.
Okay.
And I only know because we featured him on Metal Shop at one point, and
All right.
I had to make the interview happen, and it was through John Kivel. So
okay, very good.
So it's a really good band. But I mean, all the rest of these bands I've seen when they were great.
Yep.
In their great days. I can't imagine that I could plunk down $5,000 and be like, oh my God,
yeah,
I am going to see Slaughter tonight or Choir Boys or what. I just can't see it. Killer Dwarfs, man. Oh, it's worth $3,000 right there.
Yeah, we've had Russ Dorff right here in the studio.
That's what I mean.
Entertaining us personally.
Yeah, playing guitar for nothing. So I don't know.
Of course, Chip's Enough. We've known him for 3 decades.
Yeah, him way back in the day when he smoked weed.
And of course, what's his name from Spread Eagle?
Ray.
Yeah.
Ray. Ray West.
Ray West.
Yeah.
And then of course we know Stevie.
Yeah.
We know Jamie St. James.
Mm-hmm. And we know all these guys. We know Soda. We know Ellefson.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jason Beeler. I mean, if we're going to name drop, we know somebody from just about every one of these bands.
Yep.
Jizzy for Quiet Riot. Lita.
Yep. Lita.
Mark Kendall. All the great white guys I think we know, except for, I don't know the Brett guy, but you do. Y&T, of course, we know Meniketti.
Sure.
I know Aaron Lee.
We know Mark Slaughter. We know Dana Strum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this would be like a friend's trip for us, but still 5Gs. I'll text them.
Yeah, we know Michael Wilton.
Oh man. Yeah. I'll pass.
Of course, you know Zach Wilde.
I do.
So, yeah, it's not because of the talent. I mean, there's obviously just more entertainment than you can handle in a week.
Mm-hmm.
But just for me personally, I mean, I don't have a problem with the cruises, but I would never just go on a cruise.
I've never been drawn to these. I've in the last couple of years, I've thought about maybe doing the that 70,000 tons of metal because it's the more angry bands, which is more me these days.
All right. I'm Florentine.
Yeah. Florentine still likes this kind of music.
Yeah, of course he does.
Where I don't really listen to this kind of music that much, but Black Label I'll listen to. Queensryche maybe, but most of these bands are not on my speed dial these days. So I'd like to go on a cruise that has like Cataclysm or Devil Driver or Lamb of God or stuff like that. Stuff that's actually scary that the boat might fall apart from too much heaviness.
Right.
But even that, I just can't. I think I'm done with concerts, man. The more that they announce concerts, the less I want to go to them. I see this and I don't, like 5 years ago, even if I would have seen this, I'd have been like, that sounds interesting. Maybe I could find a way to get on this thing or something, and now I'm just like, just the hassle of going to this thing and, the passports and the travel and, potential of getting left behind from the boat and just all of it just sounds bad.
Yeah. Well, they're given that lineup, there's a certain clientele that will not be causing fights or riots.
Who?
On this boat.
Who? The youth?
Yeah, the youth gone wild.
Is that what it is? The youth?
Exactly.
Because they're the ones that are causing all the problems on the boats, aren't
they? Right, of course. They'll be. You won't be getting busted over the head with a shuffleboard stick.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Just for that reason alone, I can't even imagine going on a cruise, let alone, just the whole behavior thing of cruises these days will keep me off one. But then to just be inundated with these old bands, nah, it's not for me.
The whole thing is one of the funnier aspects of being on the cruise is the importance of the drink package.
Oh yeah.
And again, I'm not a big drinker, but I saw people with their whole, unlimited drink packages.
Sure.
And it's just like, how much can you drink during the week? Well, I'm not talking about you, Mr. Alcoholic. It's just that typically I would think obviously as you get older, your metabolism slows down and stuff, but how much do you intend on drinking during the week? Just unless you're just going to be totally sloshed all week long.
Well, you were on the cruise. How many people were just that?
They always all the time, because
all the time.
The minute you walked up to the bar, can I buy you a drink? I'm going to buy you a drink. I got the drink package.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't need a drink.
But dude, that's what these guys are on there. Look, most of the people, not all of them, but a good amount of people that go on these cruises, this is their chance to put away their khaki pants and their collared shirt for a week. And they're trying to relive a day that they're well past. So what are they doing? They're getting shit-faced and they're cheering ridiculously loud for Nelson or whatever.
Right, of course.
They're pretending that they're 25 again.
Right. And that really was a big theme of it. It's just like, I'm a high school kid again, Yeah.
Like, it's and again, that to me is not the crowd I even want to be in.
Right. Of course.